Rola Banje, Sanje, Jogo, Ladan, Lamedami, Jiang, Bodang, Jajin, Association, Chava. Sanje, some water is in the regular Jajin, the Soviet. Tension, Chava, the La Chovi, the Jungo, the Lavenia, the Ambitalia, what the Latuve, Suni, Namo, like Karadan, the Juna, the American, and the Walking Chitana, December, Tonja, Kedu, Dark, and no, Nasuta. I need that Carsore. Bangu Papa Lutuji. Ani Tony Tinju Casso. Good and Jella German, Yanda Bani, Tobacco. Tenit them by Mariso, tell a Yala Junichun. In the Casa Yanda Donjun Merchant, Tessin Maru Mujunde. Ani Mari Gaba Giovanni, tell a Yala Junica. Cheni, Utasumba Nashi Cheni. Karasungore, Sanatana. You don't get like German, Yanda Pani, Tobaga. One tinny temper Marisum, said Marazo, Quajiki, Jew. Ani Gujana, you don't get like you, oh, that rank is Samda, Mala, Sowanam. You don't get a John, Yanda Pani Tobacang, said Sim Rashinji Madrubala, Rashinji Truada. Marashinji Madrubala, Rashinji Trua, Simple Tobate, Yanda Pani Tembacang, Tenda Wadini, and the Temba Mari Sumbare, Zimbate, Temba Mari Pare, Tenisumare.
So, taking a quotation from Nagarjuna's 70 verses on emptiness, within that there's a verse which states saying that the causes and conditions for our cyclic existence which are the functioning entities of such as the functional phenomena, the mind, the I, and so forth. With regards to these entities, when we hold them as being intrinsically existent, such as the mind, which does not intrinsically exist, does not exist by way of its own nature, then our mind holding on to it as being existent by way of its own nature, such as this ignorance, this mode of grasping of this ignorance is the cause for our samsaric existence.
Oh yeah, and upon it, Tenitembe Marisum. That didn't tell the dancing Maribadi, yes, Anna. Ani Tikuna Landi. Ani quality of Penjigilesa. Letela, Ani Castle Silengi Setup. Ani Debu, Ani Koya Jawa to me. Jawatan Gawala, Sawa Menda, Mesu, Ribachi, Jagala, Sawa Rimji Jundi, Ani Yala Juni to Siongore.
So, motivated by this ignorance grasping at true existence, then you have the accumulation of the karma that propels us into our samsaric rebirth. And these karma are brought into fruition or maturation due to craving and grasping, and as a result, then you have a samsaric birth, aging, sickness, the links of our name and form, name and form, and so forth, up to the whole cycle of the 12 links of dependence.
That Kasore, Judan Jela, Ujela gave some Dangala Sawa, Korangu Nesote, and the Kandachila Nayore Sena. Ani Ujela Jeba, Ujela Jeba Yenzang. Ani Maribaki Sumatar or Rawandu Matuba, Ramana Matuba Nayawades. Yenzang, Yangda Tongji, Tongba, Sayakana, Korang Ranshinji, Maribaki Chiji Lord Yandaba Sumare, the Rangan and Tuba Maranga Chani Tuba Rede, Korangin, Nezude, Ani Rangan and Matuba. Rangan and Matuba Shewate, Shevala Dana, Ani Karosere. 세와디앙 아니 규정 가래 되는 세교와래 세가라 그 규정을 제바 인상 규정을 제바 인상 장원은 마제바데 다 동그와래 장원은 맞추바데
So generated out of causes and conditions are this mind, is this I. And when we ask what is the actual mode of existence of this I, of this mind, then it is something that has been, that is a product of causes and conditions. Even though that is the actual mode of the existence, but our ignorance apprehends it, holds on to it as being independently existing, truly existing. And so it is in the view of this ignorance that the I or the mind exists from its own side by way of its own characteristics, and that is how the mind of the ignorance holds on to it, even though in actuality, in reality, then it does not exist. It does not exist from its own side by way of its own nature intrinsically. So how should one come into that knowledge? How should one generate that understanding? Is by realizing how the I or the mind is a production of causes and conditions. When one knows that it has been that it arises due to causes and conditions, then one can come to realize how it does not exist from its own side. So in the sutra, it's a sutra requested by the Naga king Matruba. Within that, it states saying that whatever phenomena that which exists due to causes and conditions that are the products of condition is thereby empty of existing by way of its own nature. The very fact that it depends on causes and conditions, the very fact that it depends on causes and conditions denotes that it is empty of existing independently without any kind of dependence, and shows that it is empty of that kind of independent existence without dependence, because it depends on causes and conditions.
Oh yeah. 한국 돈이 시대 파이 전에 소환하신 전에 다텐 하신 가소래 강군의 님은 왔다 땡지 중화 되니 강단이 군의 님은 땡지 중화 되니 님은 왔더니 땡지 지로 땡진 저와 주의 태도 강단지 중화 되니 땡지 중화 되니 땡지 중화 되니 마시 태도 강 마시바 되니 안 땡진 제가 좀 태어나시가 인상 그냥 그 뒤비 최 탐제 아니 가서래 유전을 깨워대 때내 중이 태어나스 땡중데 유전을 깨워 땡진데 알아시지 마치비 태어나
통수 쳤으나 강가서 럽통면도 kanske gänge 동의쇼의 파이어버레스
대타진데 체 유전 마주시 주도이 주고디 체 되고 뭐가체 봐 다른 뭐지 사비 도이 가수 강군의 뭐 왔다 땡진 중앙 대니 마시비 태로 세가나 군장 뒤비 최 탐제 유전을 기회 땡진 중앙 예장 아라신지 마치과래是吧 랑시지 마시바이 마주바 인장 아니 유전을 깨워대 샤투고 말해
그거네 튼튼튼지 졌으나 딱딱
그냥 예모보다 남바 창와 되니 연중 인장 마시비 터레
마키베 터레
마시비 요 말이서 마치바스나
마치
여바 마시비 터레
저 마치 all ignorance and the origin that are and the true origin that are completely on the side of the afflictions, because because they are dependent arising, or because they arise out of causes and conditions, then it is by that by these very reasonings, then they do not exist independently.
그래서
양조선안에
강군의 님은 땡지 중앙 되니 그냥 님은 남바 창와 땡지 중앙 되 마시비 터레 랑신지 마시비 터레 봐 강랑신지 마시와 돼 아니 가르래서나 가소래 땡지 땡중구 터레
So everything that which is true origin, dependent arising, what it means is that it does not exist by way of its own nature. The reason for that is because it is dependent arising.
타투바스나무도 굉장히 라쇼데 아니 굉장히 랑 굉장히 되네 깨와 인상 아니 라와도 마투바레 세건 송야데라 땡데베 가소야 강강 깨라라라 대대랑신 치동신 숨바텔라 야산비 레dom순이 지시여 전에 소나신 신앙공고 강다 강 이제라라 레베 강강견라 라래봐 안데라신지 동버레
So the easiest reasoning to establish that there is no existence by way of its own nature is because it arises, it is a product of causes and conditions. So that's the easiest reasoning that for establishing there is no existence by way of its own nature, because it is, because of cause, because of it being a product of causes and conditions, and therefore there is no independent existence. Likewise, in Lama Tsongkhapa's praise of dependent arising, then within that it says that whatever is dependent, whatever is dependent on conditions, then that in itself is by nature empty, and that and then such a statement such a statement as that is like is the most amazing of all statements.
Oh yeah, 근데 인자다 랑시지 동바 인상 다 랑시지 주와 전바그 통면 말이바 대승간데 랑시지 동바 인상 랑시지 동바 무슨 또 로데 로치지 말로바 랑시지 주와 집에 로데 치지 로바 아니 대라 뇌지지 참아야 여봐 약간 참아야 여봐 인자다 라시지 또 로텔라 뇌지게 참아 여봐 인장 뇌지게 참아 겁나 공도 폐회 라시지 주바지 준비지 바텔라 뇌지 주배 아니 대 가서래 대참빌래 애기 왕게 인장 줘봐 아니 어디니 대우 동안 주바지 저 강가 가기고 와 인장 양다 통진 의도바 대시 말이 미중대 당신 통면 말이 받지 미중대 과기래서 말을 가봐 주반이 될래야 주니까 스타 말을 봐 가지고 삼아 뒤구나 사발 내가 봐 아니 내기 남이 되고 인정 좋아해 가기 와래 대인자들 미수 주변에서 가기 와래 무슨 말
So that phenomena that which is by nature empty, then it is our ignorance, this beginningless kind of ignorance that holds it to be existent by way of its own nature. So, apprehending the empty nature of phenomena is is an unmistaken form of apprehension. On the other hand, then holding phenomena to exist by way of its own nature is a completely mistaken way of apprehending it. And so, with regards to this totally mistaken mode of apprehension of phenomena as existing by way of its own nature, then is faulted by a valid mind. And when this valid mind that realizes the empty nature, when this is empowered, fully empowered, then it is able to do away with this ignorance, beginningless form of ignorance, grasping at existence, intrinsic existence. And when this happens, then the accumulation of the karma is stopped. And when the accumulation of the karma is stopped, then birth is stopped. When birth is stopped, then all of the sufferings that which is associated with such a kind of birth is also brought to a stop. So in this way, then with the stopping of this beginningless ignorance, then you have the stopping of the karma, and when you stop the karma, then you no longer have the ripening effects of the birth, name and form, and all of the other links.
아니 유세바게 세바지 와리 유세베 세바지 여바데 가르레잖아 유 당신 말을 받아라 님보 덤대 예배 유 당신 말을 봐 놓아봐 임배 아니 티집이 랭이 풍복이 유세바에 자고와 인자 세바지와 인장 다 파마 남이 풍복데 유세베 세바지 온 그래 대인사 심지 chima rimba simji jangdi simji chima dunga chima sebe sabaya yongri sentu sungwa imbare.
So there is a time when the continuum of these aggregates, contaminated, appropriate aggregates, when the continuum of this aggregate can be severed or exhausted, because there are powerful antidotes to this ignorance grasping at true existence. Because of there being these powerful antidotes to the ignorance grasping at true existence, then there can be the exhaustion of the continuum of these contaminated appropriate aggregates. And because this is possible, so you can say that there is the purification of the defilements of the mind, and therefore there is the exhaustion of these defilements.
Oh, yeah. Mariba Sajedi, Mariba de Lotruva Yimba. Only the Lord Chijimalova Yimba. Chijimalo Law Kona Kondo Peve, and a Chijilok Lodi, Chijun Chitu to the Tar, Anne Casore, Ledanimo Namdola. Tada driver Giovanni don't want you to Sava Churu, 7 Jenny, and it's Sava Jongore.
So therefore there is a state of total exhaustion, total extinction of the ignorance, this this completely mistaken mind, because of being able to employ the unmistaken mind of realization of emptiness. This unmistaken mind of the realization of emptiness, when one becomes familiar with it, and when this mind is enhanced, then the mistaken mind is gradually kind of faded or diminished, and through it, then one can bring, bring the exhaustion of karma and afflictions. Can be exhausted in emptiness.
What in the Inzanda, Tony Della Bezu, Ribasasho de Gugena Kiviki, Anishala Ralevi Teji, Anishala Rama Leba Druga, Rashidi Madruba Drugati, Sasho Dimbari. Then the Zamba Tusundua,
Celsius,
Sasho, Celsius. Can't give a Timothy. Taking the Givi Rashin Yamai. Gela Rala can't don't she some. That's soon tell Habaki, Anesawa, Tony Sawa Tunji, or Mari. You chose out to Jan Mena, Tetam the Tony Toba soon. That rangi. You can't give it up to Shella Rala, touch it Tony, Arashi Tomba de la Son of Tang, Riven, Troop, Jay. Ane Sosa Jujang, Sadan Lama image in the Sawatae, Rangi Kalam be Sudim, Sushin to Zoom, Ti Dindu, Sadan Lama Yemen to send a Sawatap. Ane Yeling do, Tony Ribet and La Pub. Ane Sanji Chejan, Sonam with Sosa, or Tashi Chair Son Tona, Anita, Councillor Tombadi, Doyagi. So, one of the most clear reasons for emptiness is that it is dependent on causes and conditions. The very fact that it is dependent then totally negates any kind of notion that it is independent, that any kind of, that it is a non-dependent phenomena, because it depends on causes and conditions. And this is the most clear reasoning for establishing the empty nature. So in order to generate such a realization within our mind, then one needs the cooperative conditions, supportive conditions of accumulation of merit, purification, the request to the Guru, indivisible from the meditational deity, and then of course the substantial cause for that realization of emptiness would be, one's application of the logic's reasonings to establish that emptiness. So when one has all of these four causes together, then there is the opportunity, occasion for one to generate the realization of emptiness. Oh yeah, that is a dynamic also. The that they come together, come to live together, catch soon after that you then think about it.
So it is for this reason that that in the Uttaratantra, the most important and most emphasized is this chapter on in establishing the element, the Buddha nature.
다 원에 셔바기 아니 쇼구당 칠레 dunso데 다 감대 장발 때는만도 장마장라 때는 라려와 인자 감정주 마셔나 원에 쉬위 산제 쇼구의 칠레 토에 매인 바래 그와 인자 감정주 제와 셔고의 군자진 바래
presenting in Uttaratantra, presenting in detail in the way in which one, purifies the defilements and establishing the luminous nature of the mind. So, and then following that, then you have the presentation of the Dhammakaya and the activities of that Dhammakaya. So, these results of Dhammakaya and the activities associated with the Dhammakaya is possible only on the basis of purifying the defilements. And so for that reason, then you have the detailed explanation on this chapter. We already covered this point the other day, but again, going back to it briefly, showing, the point presenting the how it is unchanging in the state, in its totally purified state, unchanging. So to establish that it is immutable during its a totally pure state, then for this you have the points of because it is permanent, stable, peace, and inalterable. The reason for it to be permanent, stable, peace, and inalterable is because it is immutable, because it is unchanging. So we'll go over these points again. So 264 for the Tibetan text, and so I think we are on the English 130. I'm not so sure, but anyway, it says it is permanent. It is the Dhammakaya is permanent because it is unformed by the sense of being unformed in the sense of being an attainment whose ultimate nature is not the mutability of mental body created by the ground of the predispositions of ignorance and non-afflicted karma in which the former body is abandoned and a later body gained.
아니 가서 현둔 주와 매비 아니 두마차디 임바데 가레레스 두고아레스나 미세 세데기 대샤 대기 양대 주체들 샤바스고 아레다와
So
라신지 미세비 연된지 셔타도 비단 담비 초고 임비체를 아디 다투고 바스나면도 아니 공도 샤베 다디 샤바데라 라신 미세 취디치를 세데 라신지 미세비 연된지 셔타도 받아 담비 초고 임비체를
So why is the Dhammakaya of the Tathagatas? Why is the Dhammakaya of the Tathagatas permanent? Is because it has these qualities, because it has ultimate qualities and it has this unending nature. So these are the reasons. The fact that it has these ultimate qualities and has a unending nature. This is the reason for it to be permanent.
아트니 다카는 다바 땜바 주베데 이지레다 라 나 되게 오라 조남지 미제 비잡투도 바 인데 라시지 남바 타바라 루시 루부지 체면마 말리베 타바 치메 타도바 메바 타도바 임비체 잡타도바 인데 스타예디 땜비 되나 잡타도바 임바도 드랍 세데 So the quality, that quality of being constant or stable, because of the reasoning that it is that Dhammakaya is the ultimate or the unfailing refuge of transmigratory beings. The ultimate unfailing refuge for living beings, because in its natural purity it is also a body pure of all adventitious defilements which will abide continuously and without end. 잡타도바 임비 준잔데라 라신지 남바 타바다라 루부지 치면 말루바 타바 치미 타메바 so
the reason why the reason why it is the unfailing refuge of transmigratory beings is because it is naturally pure and also totally pure of adventitious defilements, and because it abides continuously and without end. These are the reasons for why the Dhammakaya is the ultimate refuge for migratory beings, and the reason for us in that respect being constant.
아니 가소래 조안한지 밀리비 잡이 미실 조안한지 밀리비 잡타도 바인데 랑시지나 바타바 루부지 참 무뚝 치르세 치면나 다 무뚝 받냐바 꾸이 미실스 된 도시 담보디 샤바체 담보디 챤네 다디게 다디 주베텔라 치면 무뚝 치르세 도시 용어네
So and then this is because of this purity, freed from all adventitious defilements, were to later change, it would not be the ultimate refuge for sentient beings. So, because of the reasoning that it abides continuously and without end, then yanjo sunanda dir tanda di yanjo sunanda.
가르가로
tanda tagyobel.
가소래라 최전라 추구디샤 다 땜바인데 세가나 땜바인비 준잔데라 조안남지 밀리 잡타두바 인비실 스자고 준잔데 잡투바이야 준잔치고 잡투바 인비 준잔 데 단 두백이 리발라 랑시지 아니 가서는 남바 타발라 루부지 트마 말루바 티베 치미 타타도바 메두바 네베 치리스 저자 치미 타메 무둑 치리스야지 도스고
So Dhammakaya is a constant, stable, ultimate object of refuge for all transmigratory beings. Why is that? Is because Dhammakaya is completely free, is naturally pure and free of all adventitious defilements, and it abides continuously without end.
大把的两把你轻松啊，他求过的缺陷希望赢的，你，听你大多你们没到起谁干了，大多你们起谁干了，求过的希望赢的，大多坐在他滚头去，他你说没别让心对两把的，是吧？今天几个。
So then, having finished the Dhammakaya being permanent and constant, next is Dhammakaya is peace. Why is Dhammakaya peace? Because it is naturally free from the true extremes of deprecation and superimposition.
大体呢，大多众多的工作去，他你说没别让心的，就把我们下巴抬了。你们没到气谁干了？除了他塞白提醒你了，没到比心中也有过瘾比气。
So why is it peace free of the two extremes of deprecation and superimposition? Is because it can just again don't do that.
谈不得了，听罢了。希望人的大多做得到，滚到去，他你说没得别让心的两万人，是两万人军产机构，是吧
？So the first reasoning is that it is naturally free from the two extremes of deprecation and superimposition, and because with all error error at an end, it is a body dwelling without conceptuality in suchness.
他大多众多的工作去，他你说别让心的两万的，因为的军产开的也是那提的，你除了他塞白提醒你了，没多比让心的那有过瘾比气，谁干了？没到气，你们没到气，谁的定的？今天大多你们没到气，谁的军产提过关？
看这是你们
啊，除了他塞白提醒你了，
除了他的塞白，
提醒你了，没到比让心的那有过瘾比气。
So the Dhammakaya, does not dwell in any mistakes. It does not dwell in any sort of mistakes.
就是。
提醒你的除了他的，
除了他的设备，俺们提醒你了，没到比，没到心的那个气。
So
没到谁呢？当年我什么都没写了，这个等住都没，两把先把没到把它哭过来，当年我什么都完了。
So not dwelling in any aspect of mistake means not dwelling in any kind of conceptuality, not dwelling in any kind of grasping at true existence like that.
我提，俺们去过的让些去听面，希望咱马赛，俺们路不去听嘛样，马路边讲希望电把人上，俺们希望周边给都去的你去一个了，电把大把电把希望是都是你去。
So, because the Dhammakaya does not dwell in any of this conceptuality, so it is naturally pure and also purified of all of the adventitious defilement. So what are the causes for the Dhammakaya, the cause of the Dhammakaya is the natural purity and the purification of all adventitious defilement. And so that is the peace. So then the fourth point, being unalterable, is because it is not compounded by afflicted or non-afflicted, not formed by afflicted or non-afflicted karma, contaminated, non-contaminated karma, phenomena. So because it is not formed by afflicted nor non-afflicted phenomena, so it is not subject to distractions. So you can the reason when we say it is not formed by contaminated, afflicted and non-afflicted phenomena, means that it is not brought about by afflictions and its action karma, and so it is unalterable.
Oh yeah, not taking what then you want to ma shelly. What them by Shaba Nikanane, what them be going to shelly. That Shaba Yesha Shetukana. Chivatan Lani Chevicana, Tambo de Chua de Tat Mogache. I knew what the land de la Zawatan Jawani Yubiani. Tambo Shula Tempe Namjaji turned down, Yonji Teta, Namjaji turned Javasha, Takasanga Chip Chin Tata, the Yanjo Sugar, Kasan Des, daughter and Yawakumana.
So this is in brief, explaining the four, Dhammakaya of the Tathagatas described by these four, qualities. So then the next part is a, more detailed explanation in the form of the question answer like that. So and this the more detailed explanation is presented from explaining the indirect teaching by negation, indirect teaching by affirmation, and the detailed explanation of the negation. So we already covered this last Friday, but since we went through it very quickly, then just in case we didn't understand.
Na kare namba chego ware kasi yage tape tuanse di kala ani kasore nyamonje wange chamme jo wa maase ani mari bhasha ke sadang same gna le tane kya me ba kon share ba wata te ma jewa share de la dusra ku ware jewa me chi chuwa me ne me kawa me ba de zawala jewa me chi chuwa me.
So the root text for this is this pure basic element is without birth, in the beginning, death in the middle, harm through sickness in the middle, and aging or unchanging. So when we with regards to the indirect teaching by negation, then with the presentation of Dhammakaya being permanent with respect to that it is not something that is caused by afflictions, the grounds of the imprints of ignorance, or uncontaminated karma and so forth, permanent with regards to that.
남자기 된다 셔디가라 저와 매시 치와 매 다시 얘게 따배 따바 줍디가라 누구 와라 도된 가서 어때 나신 전에 니몽고 왕그 민zam미조와 마세 다 최전 디시시 최고티세 와 이지랑 신지리라비 되어야 매신 되어 매신 다 내년이 왕그 치와 매바 마세 아니 자존바당 다바사술을 내와 나신 전에 삼지 매자와 집이 치와야 매라 시간아 되어 매지 치와 매
So, the Dhammakaya of the Tathagatas is free of birth that is brought on by afflictions, nor is there what you call the mental body. Nor is there that kind of mental body, nor is there no birth and death brought on by afflictions and karma, nor do the arhants and the aryas that are on the last three pure levels, then also do not have this kind of inconceivable death, inconceivable transformation. So these are the more kind of detailed explanation of what permanent means with regards to the.
Leda Nimongo Wanga never meba Mase, Nimon Genji Mavi Pajaji Wanga never messing. Nimon the Jevi Sajaji Legi Wanga, Gawa meba Mase, Saba may be Legi Sendu Gawa mebe. Never day. Yagi Namja Jagara, Senju Mesa Mesa Chutin Jili, Sendu Jua meba Lasso, Namja Pan to Sunguareta. Midi number Jebi Nanya was Songo.
In teaching what is being, teaching by negation is explaining what the Dhammakaya is not. That it is not sort of affected by afflictions and action karma, not affected by the imprints of ignorance, contaminated and uncontaminated karma. So not only is there no harm caused by karma and affliction, there is no harm caused by non-afflicted predispositions of ignorance.
That thing, Namjaki 20. That Yonjula, the Danaba Jenny, and the Yonju Karere, Sana, Shugu de Tabare, Dambare, Shiware, Undure. So, Namjaki 20 Jera, Dana, and she was a Yonju Taji Yaga, Tapa Dubja, Damba Dubja, Shiwa Dubja, Chayimba, and Yonju Chacheni that you intended to go imba.
Therefore, this is a teaching by negation in which aspects of immutability negate the opposing adverse circumstances, and indirect teaching by affirmation is therefore the Dharmakaya of the Tathagatas is permanent, constant, at peace, and unalterable. So these four features of the Dharmakaya as what was explained earlier in the previous verse. So then next comes the expanded explanation of the negation. The Tathagata Dhammakaya does not take birth with the mental body, and that is the nature, mental body, that is the nature of the mind, because it is a permanent phenomenon. the negation of that permanent, what does this permanent phenomena, negate is this mental body that is in the nature of the mind.
삼지 메자와 지위 치포가 추구대 메시데세 추구대 메시데 땜비실 삼지 메자와 치포가 매바인자 땜비실.
So because the Dharmakaya has no inconceivable death, so it is constant or stable.
이다 대니 따당 댄시탕 세대 대인바리 대니 따당 댄시탕.
So this is what it means by saying that the Dharmakaya is permanent and stable.
다 죽으라 말이 바자 참민내봐 매대 시원이 지칠 그러니까 대니 따도 댄지당 시위치당 용중칠.
So the reason why the Dharmakaya is peace is because Dharmakaya is not affected by the grounds of the predispositions of ignorance, and so therefore it is peace and unalterable.
Oh yeah, that's 어디 다된 소지 된다 셔지 두바라왕 땅을 대바샤 매도 세 다니바 내가 가서래 저원저와텔라 다 저타지나시래 와 신도 주만 매제 라시지 남바 타바 여사와 아니 랑게 라시나 산제지 살라 남바 타바 디시시베 카마라시지 남바 타바 카마라시지 남바 타바라 루부지 트마타다기 타바 디니 디치제나 제소시 언제 타는 녀와 수네 이지랑시 줄리지 저 마인데 답실 세더라 그러봐 시비치다 디니 이지랑시지 류지 때문에 담에실.
So Arunchi just read in the commentary, for the totally undefiled and naturally purity of the clear light, whose own nature abides in purity at the level of the Buddha, the basic element of the Tathagata, purified of all adventitious defilements within its own natural purity. There is no taking of birth by way of a mental body at a perceived beginning, meaning to hold that it was born at a particular point, because it is a permanent phenomena.
다티 뒤뒤삼신에 가고 시 안에다 죽으들라 삼지 미자와 용수집이 치표버기 안에서도 치와 말해 마인바디 땜미실. 이런데 삼지 미주 치보가 되는 미지 땜미실 자와라 삼이 자주 치보이 되는 미주 땜미실.
So it will not suffer any death of inconceivable transformation at some perceived end, meaning to hold to a particular time when its continuum is halted, because it is constant. So just like how it is stated here in the root text, respectively, because of being permanent, because of being stable, because of being quiescent, and because of being unalterable.
Yes,
단도 싸워도 그디나 루나봐.
근데 삼이 잡주 치보위 되는 미시 땜미실.
Sorry, I mean, it's verse 80. The essential constituent does not die in the end with inconceivable transmigration because of being non-deceptive and stable.
어때네? 다 되네. rendrang아지 두만 규비 안녕은 짓하는 야와 손에 안에 말이 바자지 용수 zembal에 zembe 르선을 내봐 마인데 아마네 치마 가지 rendrang아지 야와 손에 안에 말이 바자기 사이 용수 zembe 안에 르선을 내봐 마인데 시위실 애들아 바자 참미 나는 내면 시와 니지칠.
So because of the it's not harmed in body or mind by the chains of the ground of the predispositions of ignorance between some perceived beginning and end, meaning a continuum of a similar or similar previous or later moments, because it is at peace. So there's no harm to the body or mind by the imprints of the ignorance, by the that abides in that continuum, of a continuum from a previous and later moments.
What is it? That Tamawalan, you wangi, and it Jawalian Zuki, and the castle, the dandy, Kunan monkey, and the church down, Ninduchi chores now. And the Maripaja is that I usually you little than a Jawali, but because Maripaja is that Samaji Lella Dane, and the usually you and the city church to teaching you are what teaching you would be, and they turn me back. Then the Kase Paja Traminan, Nimi Shiwanji, Sami Omba Duji, Yunduchina Gawa Me. So that Gunanumongi Chodan, Sidi Choji, Gishi Tem Mebe, Magobaina, Temeba, Gishi Magobaima, Maboba in Banade, Maboba said to should you go kind batini. Yongzhong Yibi Yijini, Samaji Leji, Jebu Yonsu member Kawayo Amari.
Yes, so it is unalterable because it has no birth, that is completely on the side of the afflicted, brought on by afflictions and its karma, and that Dhammakaya is also free of birth from kind of birth that comes from the knowledge obstacle, or the obscuration to omniscience, birth with a mental body, that which is a product of the imprints of ignorance and uncontaminated karma. So that Dhammakaya being free of afflicted birth and also a non-afflicted birth of the mental body, not being unnecessarily affected by birth and death, as summarized by the obscurations of afflictions and the obscurations to omniscience. This Dharmakaya is unalterable. Therefore, there is no aging brought on by the ripening of non-afflicted karma.
That the lesson. Kase, Sami Rumba Dujichi, Yunduchina Gawa Mes. That's one. That tell her, Sini Tishini, Idan Yiji Korimchi, Duma Chevi Irani Tabalaso Tensha, Sigana, that yagi subject Yala Chegana, Dambata Sheba, the Densha Java, said Densha Java Timbari.
So on the verse 82, with respect to proving the birthlessness and so forth through 2 lines and likewise 2 lines, as well as 2 lines and 2 lines respectively, the meaning of the uncompounded basic element being permanent and so forth is to be understood. So it's like you have the teaching, the statement, and then you have the explanation of that statement, like that.
Tela Sini Tishini said, Yaga Kondo, Chugudi, Daba Yindi, Maripaja Yisada, Samigale, Jomeba, Shenju Meda, Sigala, Shendu Juame, Betani Tatu, Bitumacha, Yibichil, Sigri, Dardambacha, Dordambam, Intention. That is taken between Zandela, Annie Casorim. Rashiji Misabi and then you should tattoo by Imbichil, say Titini, but Telatini Tishini.
So
that's all.
previously we talked about the Dhammakaya being permanent because it is unchanged by, imprints of, the grounds of the imprints of ignorance and uncontaminated karma. So, the nyegi suya the chugu the tapa yimbe gyumse the
chugu tapa yindi shenju meda
samegi le mari phaja sat samre le ki juwa me abache
te juwa me bi ane tere duma chere secha ta te yindi ane rashi ji me sabi cheta do bare sa de shaba cha chane ta tsinyi wote tela tsinyi tishinyi se te imbandu.
So the two lines that is being referred to here in the root text is those lines that that the Dhammakaya unchanged by imprints of ignorance and uncontaminated karma, and therefore it is unformed or uncompounded, and therefore has these ultimate qualities that are unending. So in the two lines with the second quality, which is constant or stable, then the two lines referred to is that stable with respect to it being an ultimate object of refuge for migratory beings because of the second line of reasoning of being naturally pure and being purified of all adventitious defilements. And therefore, the explain Mitobishis, that it is continuous and without end. The quality with regards to quality of peace, that it is constantly non-dual and non-conceptual. So then the fact that the Dhammakaya is unalterable is because it is not subject to destruction by contaminated or afflicted and non-afflicted phenomena. And so katika sunga ken tsawa
dila tsawa di ma tena deva la tende duga deva deva lo ta ji na ta bi tenda temba da xiwa dang yong zhong la so yu ten duan ne chung wa xie wa chao其他大部分是吃你单笔吃当些笔吃你他就下一把现居没大啥他没啥把谁的你钱现居没把他没啥缺点他 대신도 땜비된 대상이 조잡당 치면 다도 모두 봐 이체 그래서 저거 그러나 도와 저거들
So, then the root text
니 다시 여기 जान이 샤르와서
in the commentary, the meaning of permanent.
이제 주술업 된다.
The meanings of permanence, constancy, peace, and inalterability with respect to the non-composite sphere of the Tathagata Dhammakaya should be known as coming from the sutras. How permanence is expressed by two phrases, which are phrases of teaching and phrases of explanation. The first is immutable. The second is unending qualities. Similarly, the phrases that teach and explain the quality of constancy are refuge for living beings, and continuously without end being the explanation. The two phrases that teach and explain the meaning of peace are constantly non-dual and non-conceptual. And the phrases teaching and explaining inalterability are not subject to destruction and of non-composite nature. It is by these phrases that permanence, etc., can be understood as taught in the sutras to be quoted later.
주변에라 침이 잡아 샤바데 침이 묻어 받쳐 이 시위 나봤다마 다 시위 된다면 제시하더라 이거라等你大多你没写的大多你没把它没到把你钱用中给团队没推荐你了几没缺张马下让星期日写你我可能心都大把了说我那切不了几多心都写我瞧我
Permanent is expressed by immutable and with unending qualities, and constancy by refuge for living as refuge for living beings, and continuously and without end, and peace as expressed by constantly non-dual and non-conceptual, and inalterable, not subject to destruction, and of a non-composite nature.
大把老师推下，没在原点缺点就是是一个大样，对不起，在他经常去讲的，没在比原点缺点的是一个让心级原点级，没在比原点级缺点单把印章，先就没就完的。上面就来到两个先都没就完的，是个先就没在原点缺点级，先就没大。 So,
because the Tathagata of the Dhammakaya has unending qualities, so it is inalterable due to contaminated or uncontaminated karmas.
That's why. 你在原点唐代记先居米的大北宋，那听了，俺就看说的，让些人能把他把起码给，俺马上把他把木头把那边故意把人张，俺的特别是看说这玩意夹他都把的，夹头把人张单把的，晓得了，他也没当从北去夹起当你单白团。여기 당 굉장히 많은 거 같다.
김석하대. 간내송요.
여기 타이 된대로 말아. 타이 무당 준비치를 해야 되게 아니 다시 여기
땜바.
잡타도 봐 이거 군자인데 거인 봐. 침이 타매 봐 모두 받는 거 고인 봐. 랑시지 남바 타발라 루부지 팀에 말리바 타바데 침이 타도 타 매바 모두 받내비 꾸인배 잡타도 바래 자르바 어때디기 치 탐모도 막 꾸인배 잡타도 레스 잡타도 인배 담바래
So, earlier when we talked about, because it has, kind of unending qualities, because it is continuous and without end, so so it is an entity of refuge. It is because of abiding continuously until the end, and so it is an entity of refuge, and because of that, then it is constant. So, like earlier, we were talking about why it is a constant, why is it stable? Because it is an ultimate object of refuge for transmagnetic beings, because of it being continuous and without end. So here in this, then is saying because it is without end, continuous and without end. So it is stable or constant, and therefore an object of refuge.
아니 가서래 다 가르선 잡아도 알려서 지나 다다래 넘버 미도 란신지 이미 춘이 시위된 시카나 아니 이미 춘이 넘버 미도서 추와 타다세베 티신이라 아니 미도비 란신데 내비 꾸임베 윤전의 거니 아니 다도 존도다 군대지 탄이좀 비란신레 세대라 넘버 미도 란신지 이미 춘이 다도 존도다 군대지 탄이좀 비란신 임베 아니 가소래 시와레
So, and then going to the root text, because of being a nature not conceptualizing the two extremes, it has the meaning of quiescent reality without the duality of cyclic existence and peace. So, so saying that because it is of the nature of non-conceptuality, it is non-dual in regard to the two extremes, with all adventitious defilements removed. And these phrases of explanation and teaching express the meaning of at peace.
아니 지메 기밤에 바데 세야데라 마주 연대니 체나 시가나 두마체 레기 두마체비 란시 임베 아니 사자다 사메베 기밤에 비처레 사자다 사메기 레지 기밤에 비처 임베 용중레.
So and then the fourth point, because it is not compounded by afflicted and non-afflicted phenomenal karma, so it is indestructible, not subject to destruction, and because it's not subject to destruction, it is inalterable. So, because of possessing uncompounded qualities and not fabricated by causes and conditions, it has the meaning of utter indestructibility, inalterability. And the commentary is the same, because it possesses the quality of not being formed by afflicted and non-afflicted karma. It is a phenomenon not subject to destruction by death. These phrases of explanation and teaching express the meaning of inalterability.
Dole serubu nyenduji de tabara sanye meja chipo da mariwe paje saba meje ijina shi ta de ji sari ya da minwa o ta de ni ta de ba le sa son ka so re That the engine subject to attention. Sumbashidu Namdaki Nagas, one may be Tenshaba said that the engine to anybody.
So this completes the explanation that there is no change during the phase of it being completely pure, the third outline.
Tatini Shivashidu Nabata Butana, Namdroji and the Yemet Tubai said, Yage.
Then the next is establishing the indivisibility from the quality. From the qualities of freedom at the time of the total purity.
Tati, she was the tower actually in such a she was the dear anybody. You should stop shiki. Kauna, the inside. Oh, you should use stop shit. Oh, you going to Tadaba, my bar. Naga Tadaba, Yawa, Ranshin, never could do to a tiny truba. When you going to send to me Juba Juba, she do not about between a number of the emit to Tampa Truba, setting inside Sangutu.
So in the Tibetan commentary, it is on page 224, the outline. Showing the indivisibility by nature.
The subject did one. When you going to Tadaba, but never Tadata to Yawa. Ranshin never could do to a teaching Truba. When you going to send to me, you were Truba. She do not about between the number G and the image of Truba, said the inside something.
So, page 90. And then the is on page 90. That by nature indivisible, divided only by different states, establishing it to be a single nature by pervading every state, immutable by nature, establishing indivisibility from the qualities of freedom during the time of total purity.
Oh yeah, that's what she do not about the number of you and then the image to Bala Samjava, the Tenshaba Yinani. That's Samjade, the Mokum Chimogacher, why should not about touching with teaching you will load it from all about the Naga, Shipam Yawam Turner, Tabitu Japanese. That's Jabadi. What am I telling? Taniwa, Tenshabatella, Dortambata Java Shaba, you be nani. Tamboni. Yandabi, Yandava Zobi Sanje, Tini Churchan. Yanduda Rasanja, Tiba Chimbi, Sherabdan, Yishedan, Namdroji, and then Tata, Yemibu to the Damba Yindi.
So there is the link and then the explanation. So we're going straight to the verse 85, the brief teaching that the perfect Buddha possesses indivisibility, possesses indivisibly every wisdom, gnosis, and quality of freedom of hero, solitary realizer, and Mahayana. Verse 85. This is awesome, right?
강지 되니 추구 되니 티신시 되니 티신시에 전담 양한다 대진이다 세진인데 예매 바산제 김면은 양한다와 메시아디 되려 인주데 와
verse 85 the root because the basic constituent at the time of purity is the truth body of all Buddhas, and it is the ones gone thus. It is also the truth of superiors as well as the ultimate nirvana. Thus, since those are just variants in name, just as the sun and its rays are indivisible, the truth body, which is the final nirvana, and its qualities are indivisible in entity. Hence, there is no fully qualified nirvana aside from Buddhahood.
남도지 연대기 릭타다 랑용 오이 차네 예매 집어 주지 아니 담바레스 담바 임바데 가르레서나 강지티니 추구티니 디시시 사와티라시가나 균장 강기 치나 오 너만에 남바타바 타투비 추구 임비칠 당권 오 너만에 남바타바서나 라신지 주변 남바타바 타투비 추구 임비치당 아니 디신 용어숨도 또바 타투비 연단단 덴베 디시셔바 임비칠
So why is it that the perfect Buddha possesses indivisibly, the wisdom of that wisdom, gnosis, and quality of freedom of the hearer, solitary realizers, and minor? Is because Buddhahood is the ultimate Dharmakaya, pure from beginning, and pure from the beginning. He is the Tathagata possessing the ultimate quality of directly perceiving suchness. Although naturally pure, he is the ultimate abandonment of all adventitious defilement and is therefore the Arya truth of cessation.
인자 강지테니 추구티니 디시시에 라 되니 안에 가서 되니 파발 때마 전담 양한데 시가나 라신지 남바타발라 루부지 처마타다 세비 방바 타두바 임베 아니 되니 파베 고비 덴바 전담 덴바 타두 파베 주지 아니 고비 덴바 예신하네 고비 덴바 나 딜루데라 또 고된 돈 전담 덴바 덴바 인상 아니 전담 덴바 덴바 타투베 임비 타투베 치당 되니 파베 덴바 세
So, although naturally pure, he is the ultimate abandonment of all adventitious defilement and is therefore the Arya truth of cessation. So here in this tradition then, cessation is asserted as an ultimate truth.
전난 대바도바 타투베 치당 대지 니당 전이 파베 대바 전담 양한데 세리가나 아니 시시탈라 미네비냥한데 미네비냥게서나 시시탈라 미네비냥한데 드미 세버 빵비 과된데라 아니 미네비냥데 시고아리
So he's the non-abiding nirvana. So non-abiding nirvana is referred to the total exhaustion of the two types of obscurations of affliction and knowledge. Obscuration to knowledge.
아니 대지 니단 세신 연대 예매바 대지 니단 세신 스펙을 해 말이 그러나 이미 중고다 텔레주베 요새 타데매바 대신도 파베주지 추구 등기 랑신 남다다 루부 남다 니가야 도박을 쳐봐서 마도 산재가 파베주지 예와요 말이 그러나 아니 추구 코랑 랑신을 틀면 마다 배차네 인두지 다 배차네 랑신지 틀면 다 배차네 아니 랑신 남다다 드미 세버밤 배차네 아니 가서래 냥데 샤바마도 쳐봐요 말했어
So then just like the example of the inseparability of the sun and the rays of the sun, then the Dhammakaya of the Aryas, then that Dhammakaya and the qualities attributed to that Dhammakaya are inseparable, like the example of the sun and the rays of the sun, sun disk and the rays of sun, qualities of the Dhammakaya, which is the natural purity, being empty of true existence, and then you have the exhaustion of all of the adventitious defilements, the exhaustion of the two types of obscuration of afflictions and obscuration to omniscience. So the Dhammakaya and the qualities of that Dhammakaya are like indivisible. And it is, stating this is just to denote the different states in aspects or states of that Dharmakaya. In order to sort of highlight the aspects to that Dharmakaya or the states to that Dharmakaya, then you have, the natural purity and the purity from the removal of the two types of obscurations. But with respect to its qualities and Dharmakaya, then the two are inseparable, indivisible. Hence, there is no fully qualified nirvana aside from Buddhahood. And generally speaking, when we talk about nirvana, then it's mostly in reference to having abandoned the affliction of the afflicted obscurations, having abandoned afflictions. Nominally, then we say that you have four types of nirvana: natural nirvana, nirvana with remainder, nirvana without remainder, and non-abiding nirvana. When we talk about natural nirvana, it's not nirvana in its fully characterized form. So, natural nirvana is when one has negated all the elaborations, when one has stopped all the elaborations of true existence. It's the natural nirvana, and the emptiness of true existence.
지부도 가서래서나 란주보면 그때 다소도 가라 가르래산다 년도기 람브림기 톱데 다른 년된 다좀도 공부 톱데 잠바 다좀 토마 톱가 토가 뭐 관한 비주지 딘조 아메레니 폼포 코라리 라 년도라 파바 있나야 소시교의 직바직장 레니 방비 폼포데 레니 파 폼포 코라리 일단 다좀 톱디 잠바야 내니 밤에 풍부디 된 코랑라 다좀 톱바 인장 다좀 토마타비 가사그 규지 아니 풍부디 내니 지방 그치 동아된 바래 인상 동아지 풍부 하마다 제와 다디 니지 밤에 과단 토와르디 과단디 동아지 풍부 하마다 제요 과단 인 하마다 제와 인장 사제냐데 스거래.
So nirvana with remainder. So the explanation of what a nirvana with remainder is differs between prasangikas and Swatantra Madhyamikins and the schools below it. So according to the Swatantra Madhyamikins and the schools below it, then in the case of the Shravaka, Shravakas who attained the Shravaka Arhat by progressing on the Shravaka path. Then when they are on the verge of attaining the state of an Arhat, then and when the body that they have at that time is still the aggregates of the it's still an aggregate which are the results of affliction and its action karma. So because that nirvana has been attained with the basis of a body, which is the results of previous affliction and its action karma, so that nirvana is regarded as a nirvana with remainder. So the individual has attained the state of an arhat, but because of still having the basis of an aggregates that are the results of previously propelled affliction and action karma, so it's regarded as a nirvana with remainder.
That's top chani. Ane tadu tiba sumdu chuwa dunga yinso na ane kuzi duje tangdu zamba chidi zamba riba se pumbo junche riba junche ba tegware.
And those who sort of hold on to the view of three ultimate vehicles or three final vehicles, when they, after having attained the state of an arhat, when they pass away, then they assert that the continuum of the mind or the consciousness is severed, cut off, and that the continuum of the aggregates is also severed at that time. So in this state, because you have cut off of the continuum of the aggregates, so this state is known as the nirvana without remainder, because you no longer have the previous suffering aggregates.
Ani peme busu yuji rangshinji dewa jana sawa tashindu ani yuji rangshingu lilen gwara mato lilen ba yinzang ngame lenyi pambe pumbo tatan chayu dunga yin nyanda yinzang lame nyanda sikware.
In the case of those who assert the view of one final vehicle, then we say that the individual who has that nirvana with remainder, then upon death, then they are born in a pure land, born with a mental body in a pure land, within a lotus. So being born within a lotus with a mental body in the pure land, that would be a nirvana without remainder, from the point of view of those who assert one final vehicle.
lenyu ki jewa chezam ji nyanda zela minewa ta tezam ji ane tasala newe chachu sabala yuare rwa yezam tezam da chezam mando ta minewe nyanda ngone la karo warasana ane dhimyi sebar pangba nyongbara shiji dhruba sebar tam pangba chi kogo wayman.
So, with the fourth type of nirvana, the non-abiding nirvana, then being free of the extreme both samsara and nirvana, extreme of samsaric birth brought on by affliction and disaction karma, and not abiding in nirvana's peace, where you have just gained the cessation of samsaric rebirth, samsaric rebirth. So that kind of just ceasing to be reborn in samsara, that is an achievement even for the bodhisattvas of the pure levels, of the pure levels. So here the non-abiding nirvana refers to a nirvana accomplished on the basis of complete extinction of the two types of obscurations, obscuration of afflictions and obscuration to omniscience.
Oh yeah, that didn't she did a Tangajadu. Sugar Rashi Namdaki Chadang. Zikana. And Gaja Rashi Jitua Nabatavich, Cha Rashi Namdak Donite. And the Tengusun to be she. Tengusun to be she. And the Lubuji Chima. And the Tata Sabi Bamba. 어때다 대 년비 토바남 쳇방바디 년보 돈용무슨 도비 시지 토바남 최주고라 예매도 남바 땐데 디 내라라 냐데 천님부터 말했어 냐라라 냐데 요아리 냐데서는 년주방비 티싱이 그러마 년주방비 과된 데 냐라라 요아체 다미 가서래 가려요 말해서나 다 미네비 냥대 그러나 내라는 냥대 선임부터 마인지 남로다 이세다 셰라노 저바 타투비시 남로다 이세다 셰라 저바 타투바데 산제가사나요 말해 남로라 말아 고그래 과단라 코야요래 그저 지지되오라 남로세티 이세다 셰라 남 저바 타투바데 타투네 공도 저거메가 와데 사상제마도 메찬나 바 인장 타도 티바치도 주비치이노 스타디 말에
And then the next part is teaching on the four qualities of Dhammakaya, that it is a natural purity, and that it is and the exalted wisdom that it directly perceives this purity, and the total abandonment of all adventitious defilements, and the attainment of that state by antidotal forces. So these are the four qualities of the Dhammakaya, which exists indivisibly in the Dhammakaya. So this is not to say that that the hearers and the solitary realizers do not have a real, authentic, kind of liberation, but by stating these qualities, attributing these qualities to the Dhammakaya, is to say that that it is an attainment, it is level attainment from which no further progression needs to be made from that. There is no further progression to be made from that state. So, however, this is not to say that the hearers and solitary realizers do not attain an authentic nirvana, rather that the development of liberation, gnosis, and wisdom to their ultimate degree, beyond which there can be no further development, is found only in the Buddha and not in others, and is taught for the purpose of establishing one ultimate vehicle.
Oh yeah, namroda, 이세다 셰럽 남 저바 타도 권에 들어먹어봐 산제라마도 샤나 메베 다 타도 티바치도 주비 체레 세가나 타도 티바섬도 저디가나 랑랑기 아니 가소레 타도기 티바 년저기 타도기 다좀 톱지 잡아 다 다주시와나 신 텔레 아니 추구세니 라 riba jun cheba ane pombo ya jun cheba yin ba shi ligu ware 신이 시키보이 말에 인자 Pumbasama may be Yangala Devi, England never Lani, Pumbasama Jevi, Yangala Devi, England never Lani, Tribata Javata, Tribina Bashaba Yoare, Star Tadutabasun the Triluna. Pumbasama may be Yangala Devi, England never Lani, Tribina Bashaba Meto, Tribina Bashaba Yoamares. Techi Chena, Junjan Carresana, Dan Sebe, Dumi Ranganga Globa Tebisita, Dan Pumbodang, Riba Junchaba Yinza, and Ribani Ranganga, Yimito Seba Maride, Dumi Lot, Ranganga Globares.
So establishing that Dhammakaya is a development of liberation and transcendental wisdom, gnosis and wisdom to the ultimate degree beyond which there can be no further development. So and that being only in the state of a Buddha, that being only there is liberation for the the arhants, because you have an attainment of a liberation based on having abandoned the affliction and the obscuration of afflictions. You have a nirvana of that, but not the kind of the nirvana where you have the development of liberation, gnosis, and wisdom, and where there is no further development to that. You do not have that. So when we talk about nirvana with remainder, then we say that there is still the placement of the aspects of obscurations because of the association with the previous aggregates, and then with regards to nirvana without remainder, then you say that there is no placement of any of the aspects of obscuration because you have exhausted the previous aggregates. And that exhaustion of the aggregates does not happen due to application of antidotes or such, but it's like it's a natural exhaustion of that aggregates. And then you have the nirvana without remainder, in which you have the total extension or exhaustion of the two types of obscurations.
아니 제라마와다 다들 봤으면 되거나 아니 산제양 다가나시 되고 하래.
So
저거 인자 딱 가진 잠에 숨서 초사니 초사비 대부대라 아니 가서래 영보다 뭐자 많이 비트바 빵데 아니 구제 공을 자주 마슈 대네 안데 다 가르사 삼지 밑에 치고든 고조가 쇼모셔 봐 인자 아니 냥아는 대화 있지가나 리바 준샤바 되고 하래 대인자 소 자체부터 제바지단 대부대라 아니 dindichile maida kanda chemboju yongwari.
So Vaibhashikan schools who assert ultimately there are three vehicles or three final vehicles, then they sort of render the same explanation to a Buddha, to a Buddha. So that they go through three countless eons of accumulation of merit, and then as a result of that, then as a result that when the Buddha achieved passed away at the age of 80 or so forth, then because they cannot sort of explain away any form of inconceivable transformation, so they assert that the continuum of that knowledge or that rigpa or mind is is cut off, is severed, upon, like when Buddha passed away at the age of 80. So and so the view is that it's contradictory to say such is the result of such inconceivable accumulation of merit. After all those 3 countless eons of accumulation of merit, if this is the result, then the result doesn't sort of fit the cause. So, as Vaibhashikans, birth is only attributed as a result of birth is always attributed as a result of afflictions and this action karma. Then they are unable to place any kind of inconceivable birth or inconceivable death. So it's because of that then you come up with these faults.
Yeah,
Ratna Mandala Kamya Daya